Okay, so Jack Oliver Aaron responds to my last video, and he's basically saying, well, I do classical socionics. I don't do that other face reading bullshit that other schools do. This is classical socionics. But my point would be, okay, classical socionics. Wouldn't that refer to the original work by Augusta? Wouldn't it be referring to like her work? That would be the classical. That's the original writer of socionics. That would be true classical. Do you really think that World Socionic Society is 100%, like their interpretation is 100% in line with Arushra's work? I doubt it. Of course, there's going to be areas where they diverge from each other. There's things where Jack's probably made additions or maybe he's changed certain things. So to me, to call it classical just doesn't make sense. Like anyone who's done their own work, Jack's done his own thinking on the matter, and he's made additions or changes, or he's cut certain things out that he thinks aren't important or aren't helpful or aren't accurate. So when you see someone like Jack Oliver Aaron running around saying, well, what I'm doing is classical socionics, this is true socionics, this is how it's supposed to work, I think what he should do instead, for the sake of clarity, is say, well, what I'm doing is the World Socionics School of Socionics. This is our interpretation. This is what we think makes the most sense. This is what we think is most congruent with reality. But you can't say this is true socionics, because true classical socionics would be Arushra's original work. That would be the true classical. Of course, Jack being his own thinker, he's done his own interpretation, his own analysis. He's made his own additions and changes, and he's cut things away that he doesn't think are important. So it's not going to be 100% in line with the true classical source material of Arushra. It's going to have differences. So you can't really say this is classical socionics because it's just not transparent. For the sake of transparency, you ought to be more specific and say, well, this is the WSS School of Socionics. That's more accurate. So that's all I got to say.